place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast.
And we're back. I apologize for the slightly delayed start that we promised yesterday on Twitter. I was having some internet issues before we started, but we're good now. And we are live on the Lautimes podcast, where we talk about Tigres in English. And as the phrase goes, en las buenas y en las malas. When the team makes us happy and when the team makes us angry. We're here to talk about it all. I'm Dennis. I'm the host and producer, coming to you live from Dallas, Fort Worth. And happy to be joined by one of our members of the crew, Old Faithful himself. You know him as Tigres_English on the Twitterverse. It is Luis.
What's up, Dennis? Great to be back, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We will see if anybody else from our crew will join us later, but we'll just see how the night goes. I'm a little depressed watching a Liguilla game that does involve Tigres currently. I know you just tweeted something along those lines on the account. So yeah, not the best of times, but we're here and finally here to talk about lots of things with the team. Of course, obviously, we will get to what happened in Guadalajara on Saturday. But we're not going to start with that. We're going to start with other things that are not recapping that game. We'll save the rant for later. So thanks to the four of y'all that are joining us live currently. Help us out by sharing this with somebody so we can get more people in here. Follow us, subscribe, like this video. Please share with everybody. If you're watching on Twitter, reposts, retweets, and likes go a long way. And yeah, come hang out in chat as well. It's always good when y'all are in chat, hanging out with us as we go through these episodes together here on the show. If you're listening back on podcast later, thank you for being here as well. Subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Leave us a review. And of course, if you're on Spotify, drop a comment. I read them. Last time we had a comment, it was from a guy who's on the show, Edgar, and it was a troll comment about me. So we need to update the comment section on Spotify. So drop something on there if you listen on there. It'd be awesome. Okay, my friend. Well, as I mentioned, we will not get to the bad yet. We're gonna start with some Tigres news. There's been some news that's been going around today, especially big news day today. Some rumors, some potential opportunities for participation in a competition that we almost won 11 years ago. Lots of things going around the internet today involving our team. Honestly, on both the men's side and the women's side. So we're going to talk about those things here over the next however long, and then we will eventually transition into what's happening or what happened last weekend. So let's start. There's lots of things to start with. I want to start with the CONCACAF rankings that came out today or yesterday, because
you mind telling me who's at the top, Dennis?
Yeah, much to my surprise, Tigres are currently in first place by a point over Toluca, by one singular point. I'm a little surprised. I honestly don't know how those rankings get calculated, to be honest with you. So who am I to say? But I'm not going to complain, obviously, about it. I mean, in the grand scheme, what does it really mean? But it's cool. I don't remember the last time we were there besides like 2020 when we last won Champions League, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been top 5 for a while. I think we kind of drift in and out of the top 5, occasionally top 4, top 3. But yeah, I think it's been a few years since we've had sole possession of first place. And honestly, I know a lot of people don't agree, but I feel like we're the favorites against Toluca.
Oh, my
Slight,
man.
slight favorites, but I think
All
we're the
right.
favorites.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I I would think that we're the underdog personally, but I understand where you're coming from and I understand where the ranking also has us at. And again, I'm not going to complain. It is interesting. We were what? We were third, fourth going into the semifinal. I think we were
Fourth, I
third.
believe.
Nashville was ahead of us, right?
Yeah, Nashville was ahead, so I
Yeah.
think we were fourth.
Interesting that we
Yeah.
jumped. Yeah, it's really interesting. Um, next up is the rumor that is going around. It's a rumor that we've talked about for ages at this point, because there's always been this possibility of this happening again. But there has been some real traction to this now because Marca, the big newspaper out of Spain, right? Um, they have been reporting today that the possibility of CONCACAF clubs coming back into the fold of the Copa Libertadores is very real. From what I understand, it sounds like the current proposal is 2 teams from Liga MX and 2 teams from MLS. So 4 total CONCACAF slots. Do we know when that is going to take into effect? Should it happen? No, no idea. Couldn't tell you. But
Potentially 2027, potentially.
okay, so soon potentially. I mean, there's always been murmurs about it, but I don't know. It feels like today it felt a little bit more real than it has previously, right?
Yes, and not only that, uh, I think there's a big push from Inter Miami's president, Jorge Mas, to get Inter Miami into that tournament. In which case, that makes sense, right? You get Inter Miami and perhaps one more MLS team, and then you can get a couple of Liga MX teams in there. Also helps a ton, right? That Univision now has the TV viewing rights in the US for Libertadores 2027. And we know obviously the higher ups in Televisa have all these relationships that they can form and make use of. So I think it makes sense. It's logical now that steps have been taken for this to happen. Now, is it going to be a regular invite? We don't know. It could be a one-off. It's like, hey, let's see how it goes. I also heard that potentially 4 Liga MX teams could get invited, which that would open up space for a couple more. Would love to see like Toluca, Tigres, Cruz Azul, America in that tournament. That would be awesome. Um, but we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot that needs to happen for this to take place. But man, I mean, I'm always every time I see these big matchups, I'm always so envious, right? I wish I was there. I wish our teams were competing. It's just such an awesome tournament with so many big names and so many crazy stadiums in Brazil and Argentina and Colombia. So just to be able to rub elbows with those clubs, I think would be a great treat. Even if it just happens to be for 1 year, I would love to have another shot at that cup.
Yeah, it kind of feeds into this sort of idea that at some point maybe it makes a lot of sense for both CONCACAF and CONMEBOL to merge and just become this giant super region. I don't know if this is the thing that really like kickstarts that, but it kind of feeds into that idea, in my opinion. I love that Univision is taking over the rights, um, because the fact that Libertadores has been on Bayin, whatever they're called,
Being, yeah.
yeah, like the fact that it's been on there is such a disappointment because it's not really accessible to most people And as you just alluded to, the Libertadores tournament is an incredible tournament, regardless of whether or not, our team is in it or not, or Liga MX teams are in it or not. It is an unreal tournament. Like the drama, the chaos that happens in that tournament is really something special, and it's very high quality, as we know. So it'd be great, as you mentioned, to get back and, like you said, have a shot at a redemption after what happened in 2015. Being so close and having that opportunity again would be such a great deal for this club. So hopefully it happens. I think those are the 4 teams that should be in it. You nailed it right on the head. They've been the 4 most prominent teams, I feel like, over the last few years in the league. So I would be very much in favor of that. First comment of the night. You guys know him as Threedger, even though his real name's Edgar. Merge Leagues Cup and Libertadores. That would be a lot. Because Libertadores, when it starts, it's like, how many teams, bro?
It's a ton of teams, bro. Ton of
And
teams, because you
Leagues
got
Cup is
Ecuador,
36.
Chile, Paraguay, Colombia,
Now I gotta look it up.
Brazil. What, like 48 teams probably in it? Because
That
there's a group
sounds right.
stage.
47.
Maybe 47. Yeah, around. Yeah, I figured because it's by groups, and so.
Would you
Me
rather,
too.
Threeger, would you rather merge Leagues Cup and Libertadores or merge CONCACAF Champions Cup and Libertadores? Just hypothetically speaking.
It would make more sense to do CONCACAF Champions Cup. I think that's the more on a, because Leagues Cup really has just been a very U.S. based kind of tournament, whereas CONCA has that home and away
Right.
2-leg system.
Exactly. Hopefully it happens. We will see what happens over the next, I don't know, few months about that. And as I mentioned, hopefully our team is involved in whatever the next iteration or iterations of that tournament are, or whatever those iterations will be. So stay tuned. Next up on the rumor mill, or on the news mill, this is not a rumor, this is a thing that's actually happening tomorrow in Monterrey at a place that I know all too well because I live way too close to it. At the Galerías Mall, the Tigres restaurant that we have been long awaiting for, Territorio Tigres, is opening up tomorrow to the public at, I believe, noon local time, if I remember correctly. They had the grand opening or the little opening event for it on Wednesday, earlier this week. But the official opening to the public is tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow at noon, Monterrey time. If anybody knows anything about Galerías Mall, it's at the very top floor of the mall. They've added a higher floor over the last few years. The Tigre Tienda inside Galerías is on level 2 technically, and the restaurant is at level 3, right next to the very top of the Liverpool retail store. So there's been a lot of social media posts about it. A lot of people were there at the event on Tuesday. It looks really cool from the inside. That they did a really great job, like decking it out, and it's gonna be great for kids. They got a little play place for them. They've got some activities for them to do. Much to the disappointment of some people who regularly contribute to this show, there will not be alcohol served at the restaurant to keep with the ambiente familiar. So if you're looking to get a cheve in at the restaurant while watching a game, tough luck. You're going to have to go somewhere else. I will say though, little disappointed in the menu if it is what I have seen. Looks like it's just going to be burgers and wings and nachos. little bummed out about that, to be honest with you. So I don't know what you have to say about that, but I'm glad it's opening. It's cool that we have a restaurant. It's very unique.
Yeah, it's cool. It's neat. I think if you really wanted the big crowds, you would probably have to serve alcohol. But I like it that we're keeping it family friendly and kid friendly. Um, I noticed that Buffalo Aguirre and Dady Ramirez and
Gori and
Gorriaran
Mia were all
and La
there.
Niña de la U were there, right?
Yep.
So that was cool that they got to participate in that and take a little time out to kind of usher in the new restaurant. Should be cool. When I go, I'll probably go visit. So I'll let
Well,
you guys know how it goes.
you got to let me know when you do that because I could just take you around my neck of the woods at that point. That's literally right down the street from me. So I walk like my grandparents walk to Galerias Mall every day still, even at their old age. So um, yeah, if you're ever in Monterrey, you now have that option to go check that out. You can get the double Tigres dos. You can go get your merch at the tienda, and then you can get your burger at the restaurant. So
And there's also an Adidas store that has a ton of Tigres gear.
tons of stuff. Well, not right now. They've got a ton of World Cup stuff, but usually they have a ton of Tigres stuff, and it's actually right across the way from where the Tigre tienda is. It's like on the same level, just like 50 feet away across. So yeah, go check that out. Okay, back to the team. I didn't know this, Rieger. Maybe you have some insight to this, Lou. Rumors about Jimena Lopez leaving?
Yeah, there's rumors floating around about Jimena leaving, which I don't hate as long as we get players to replace her because we don't like her as a starter, but she's a decent backup. So we would need to fill that spot. So we keep getting thinner because if Jimena leaves, you're gonna be left with for fullbacks Villalpando, Enciso, and Anika Rodriguez, who Anika is gonna be out for a while, I'm sure.
And Ev.
Well, I think Ev might be leaving too. I don't know for sure, but I think she might be. We'll see. There's still a lot of time to kind of decide what they're gonna do, but potentially. And then there's also rumors floating around. I don't know if you're gonna touch up on it about some Brazilian players coming in.
Yeah, I had that put in the outline, like just a really brief note of it. A lot of feminine notes. So there's the Emma Watson stuff where we thought that she was for sure out, but there's kind of been some conflicting
Possible negotiations.
right, she could end up staying. I don't know if permanently or for another loan period. Who knows? We know that Jenny Hermoso is going to come back at least next season. Um, the next apertura. Beyond that, who knows? But as far as we know, she is going to come back at least for another 6 months. And then obviously all the Brazilian players. One of them is from Corinthians. We just love poaching from Corinthians. It's the Corginelli and now what's her name effect?
Marisa
Marisa, yep. So and then there was another girl whose name
from
behooves me.
Palmeiras, a
Thank you.
striker
Yes.
from Palmeiras.
Yeah. Who the Corinthians girl is is she a defender or midfielder?
I believe she's a midfielder, attacking mid, I think.
Okay.
From what I've heard, she's really good. I need to pull up that post, but from people that watch the league and Corinthians fans commenting, it appears that she is highly regarded over there. Let me see here.
Duda Sampaio
Yeah, that's the one.
and then the Palmeiras girl is Taina I don't
Taina Maranhão.
Taina yeah. Thank you for pronouncing that correctly. I was gonna butcher it so bad. Oh yeah. We should poach Sam Kerr. I mean, shoot.
She's available.
She is. She's a free agent. She's a free agent. I don't know. I mean,
Playing
it'd be
playing a 4-4-2.
yeah. I was gonna say just have her and Diana just roll at the top. I mean, it'd be fun. I don't know. Does Sam Kerr want to move to this side of the world a year before the next World Cup? I guess that's my question. Because that's what these girls are thinking about. The same way that the men have been thinking about the World Cup, the Women's
Yeah,
World Cup in Brazil is 13 months away. So
yeah, you got to think about 2027.
yeah, so there will be some consideration for their next clubs based on that by itself. So I think that was it as far as feminine goes. Um, yeah, hopefully Emma stays. Of all of that, I really hope Emma stays. That'd be wonderful.
On Femenil, there's rumors floating around about a possible goalkeeper signing from a French player.
Ah,
So
yes.
it appears that Ceci Santiago might be done at Tigres. From what I've heard, she's getting offers from several clubs within the league and outside the league. So I think that's it for Ceci because her contract does expire this summer. So
Okay.
I don't believe Tigres will be renewing that contract. In which case, it makes sense to go after a solid goalkeeper. I think it's time to upgrade the position for sure.
Watch this space on that.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted on it, but that's the rumor. So far, the front runner is that French goalkeeper, which I can't remember what her name is, but
Okay. Oh yeah. Thank you, Threaker. I was really surprised by this. Happily surprised. Liga MX yesterday came out that they are the most watched women's league in the world, surpassing NWSL and the Super League in England and Liga F.
Bundesliga.
Yeah, all the leagues in Europe. Like that's a big deal. That is a huge deal for our league to be at the top of that. Shout out YouTube for being super accessible for a lot of people because the league has done a good job of putting games on there. That's a big deal to me, man, because that's a lot of eyes who are watching what these girls are doing. It helps that we've had so much more European presence, not just on our team, but like from across the world. I mean, we've got a lot of Brazilian people watching now too. I mean, from our team, Corginelli and Marisa, like they bring eyes to our team and to our league. So it's great news. Not something that I would have expected. If you would have told me that we would be the most watched league, I would have laughed in your face hysterically. But very happy about that.
Yeah, for a league that's basically still in its infancy because you're 7 years in pretty much. Um, it's amazing the growth and it's a fun league to watch. I mean, I think for people that might not have a team and just follow players, for example, it is a fun league. It's a very back and forth type of game, very physical, pacey, and I think it just continues to get better. I think we're starting to see more parity now. Whereas before you could say it was mainly a three-team race, I think you're starting to see now 5 or 6 teams that can compete for that title. And so I think it's exciting and it's great news. And hopefully that kind of motivates the league to continue to make these games accessible. I think that's what makes it very watchable, very viewable is the fact that, like you said, a lot of these games are on YouTube, and the more you're able to make it accessible, the better it is for everybody. And I think it's great. I think it's good for the sponsors. It's good for the commercial interest of the league, and just got to keep it rolling, right? Make sure we improve the things that we need to improve, right? The refereeing needs to get better.
You can say that again.
There's a lot of things we can improve to make the league more attractive, but I think for a league that's still in its infancy, I think that's a huge step.
Big deal for sure. Last thing about Feminil. We have been kind of waiting for official word. There's been a lot of uh unverified speculation about the future of Pedro Losa and his tenure as coach of Tigres. A lot of people saying that he's on his way out, that it's probably going to happen, and that the team just hasn't announced it yet. But nothing very, very credible, at least from like the guys that we trust the most. You know, your Peyos, your Vladis, your
Edgar
Rosales,
Martinez.
Edgar. You know, those guys. They haven't said anything yet. It's been kind of the second tier, the lower tier guys that have been saying that he's going to go or that he's already gone. So obviously, we are hoping for that to happen because the team needs a change there. Drieger saying I'm hearing by this weekend or something like that. I mean, whatever works, man. Just make it happen. It's not that difficult. So
Yeah, yeah, and it'd be a great move if they could announce it this weekend, give the fans something to cheer about. I think we've had a rough week in terms of league play, and I think even femenil, the way we ended in such a sour note. Sometimes news like that kind of gets the fan base re-energized and gives them something to look forward to.
absolutely. All right, going back to the men's side. Couple little World Cup notes here. We have 4 players that have been named to preliminary lists for World Cup squads. 2 of them for the Mexican national team with Diego Lainez and Jesus Angulo, and 2 for the Uruguayan national team with Rodrigo Aguirre and Cesar Araujo. Of those 4 guys, I think it's pretty obvious that Aguirre is going to go, based on the fact that he is the starting striker for Uruguay right now, because of circumstances with other players, aka Darwin Nunez. I would be stunned if those other 3 make it. Absolutely stunned. So
Yeah, Lainez I think would be the best shot, but it appears he burned that bridge with Aguirre. We still don't know what happened, but that it looks like that ship sailed, and I don't see any of those 2 getting called up on the Mexican side. And obviously Araujo is a really, really long shot. I would not bet
yeah,
on that.
I
So
mean they've got actual midfielders on the Uruguayan national team.
yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Um, the squad list for all the teams are starting to come out, so maybe there's a surprise inclusion here or there. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I think that's it as far as like news and stuff. Something is happening in the Pachuca game. There's some sort of skirmish happening on the on the sidelines. So couldn't tell you what is happening, but it is what it is. Um, is that how he scored? Oh no, he didn't score there. That was from just now. That makes sense. Well, we're about 30 minutes into the show. By the way, once again, if you're watching with us live, please share, especially right now. We're about to get into our unfortunate part of the episode, the rant. So if you want to hear us rant and be angry and spew some takes, join us and share this link with all your tios, your grumpy grandpas, your frustrated friends. Yeah, come join us and give Drieger some company in the chat as we continue on here with the episode. But the main thing to talk about tonight is obviously the elimination of Tigres from Liguilla on the men's side to Chivas after a great 3-1 win at home in the first leg. The result that we desperately did not want to happen happened in leg 2, where Chivas came back and deservedly won that game 2-0. Tied on aggregate, but because of their league positioning, they were able to advance based off that tiebreaker. And I would say maybe the worst coached slash most cowardly coaching performance in the modern Tigres era. I think it's safe to say that. Um, it even to this day, it's been 5 days since that game has happened, and it is still unbelievable to me how we came out for that game, how the game plan was devised, how we ended up where we were, and especially when you look at this Liguilla situation that we're in now, it is really unfortunate that we're not still in it, because we could have a great chance to win this whole thing. And here we are, stuck at home, frustrated about it, even still, 5 days after the fact. Because unfortunately, as much as we love Guido Pizarro, he turned into a coward. Let's just call it what it is. He turned into a coward last Saturday and put us in the worst possible position, and we paid the price for it. So I'll get to more of my thoughts here in a second, but Dr. Reverend Lou, the floor is yours as you share with our audience your frustration about last Saturday.
We had a chance to do something special, and we threw it away because we didn't have the courage to go after it. Guido Pizarro, when he first got hired on, basically set the bar for himself, and he told us how he wanted the team to be. And he mentioned three key things in that press conference. He says, I want a team that has possession of the ball. I want a team that's a protagonist. And I want players that have the courage to execute that game plan. And he failed in every aspect of it. This was a team that we had scored 7 goals in 2 prior games this season against them, and you did everything opposite of what your core is, your essence, what you preach. This was a game where if you score 1, you pretty much with certainty you're gonna advance. If you just score 1, if you score 2 in this game, you absolutely advance. And to come out in this fashion, like you nailed it, in such a cowardly way is what hurts, because this has been one of the easiest liguillas ever, and at least in recent times, where it was very much doable, and we just didn't go after it. We didn't want it, and I don't want to take away anything from what Chivas did. We also have to praise them because they had the courage to go after it. They could have had all the excuses in the world to say we're just going to fold. We came back with a large deficit from the away game, and we're missing 5 of our most important players, and we're just going to give up. But they brought the energy, they brought the intensity, their fans showed up. So we have to credit them for that. But what Pizarro did was just wrong. I think deep down he knows he's wrong. In the press conference, I think he tried to excuse his behavior a little bit and tried to say that he didn't try to play in a low block, but it was clear he was going after, he was betting on us not receiving those goals, right? And as I'm watching this game, I'm saying to myself, playing in a low block as a tactic is only worth it if you are able to counterattack. But we never showed any threat of a counterattack whatsoever. Buffalo Aguirre looked tired. Angel Correa looked tired. Gorriarán was not even on the bench. And we didn't have a lot of options. He started a kid who had been great coming off the bench, but has never shown that he can be a starter. and yet you start the kid when you have a very experienced Linus ready to go, healthy. And then the substitutions he made, like, were really frustrating because it shows me that he wasn't reading the game well. When you're getting into the 60th minute and it's 0-0, you need to be going after the score at that point. That's when you need to step it up and say, "Hey, okay, I'm going to attack now." But he did the opposite. He pulled it forward to bring in another defender. He stacked numbers in the back. I think we were at some point defending with like 7 people, 8 people in the box. And you're basically inviting Chivas to come at you because Chivas knows there is no way for you to counter. And so the substitutions were wrong, and then we fell right into their game plan, right? They scored 2 quick ones, and by the 77th, 78th minute, we were toast. We were basically out of it. And I had said it, if you're going to play like this, you're betting on the fact that you only have 2 offensive subs to be able to change the game. An old Gignac and a Marcelo Flores that lately hasn't shown anything. Those were your 2 subs, offensive subs. That's it. And so how could you possibly bet the house on those 2 guys? No disrespect to Gignac, but Gignac needs more than 10 minutes to try to be able to finish this. And he came in and did great. But
it was our best 10 minutes of the game offensively when he was on the pitch.
Too little, too late, man. Too little, too late. And so he just didn't plan the game well. He didn't do the right things at halftime, and we paid for it, and we got embarrassed, and we deserve all the criticism in the world. And a lot of people were talking about, oh, should there be an ultimatum? Should somebody say to him, hey, win the CONCACAF Champions Cup or you're out? And we could talk about that here in a minute, but to me, there needs to be something said to him because that's completely unacceptable.
And it's not the Tigres way, regardless of whether it goes against what he said in that press conference a year-ish ago. That's not the Tigres way. Like, Tigres, especially in the modern era, in our golden era, we've never been cowards, right? Like, even if we sit back defensively, like
The only
still have.
game I can think of, Dennis, where we punked out, that you could say we sort of punked out, I think it was more crowd pressure that did it, was the 2015 final against Pumas.
Yeah.
With that 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much Tuca trying to park the bus. I think there was a lot of pressure from the fans and from them, and it kind of overwhelmed us.
Yeah, and at various points in that game, we didn't play bad. Like, we had some offensive threat in the first half of that game, and then it just kind of all went away. But this was by far worse in every way possible. There's so much wrong about this game from a tactics perspective, like you mentioned, from a player perspective. I'm looking back at this image that you retweeted on your account last week that I'm going to show our viewers now, which is basically that image of that's where the line was of how deep we sat. The deepest line, defensive line in the entire tournament in the Mexican League. We had the deepest line for that game in a quarterfinal second leg on the road. You're going to bring up the deepest line that's been played by any team in the league all tournament? You're asking for it. Good grief. I thought we were okay in the first half. I figured that, okay, we're going to weather the storm. We're going to just see what happens. I didn't feel like Chivas really had any threat in the first half. Like, they had chances, but it was like, okay, like, their attackers aren't that great. They're going to come out flying because they got to get the goals back. Like, we just got to weather the storm. And then we just kept on sitting deep and deep and deep. And I know fatigue was a big issue for a lot of these guys because they've been playing a lot of games. But that's on Guido, too, for not rotating enough, right? As you mentioned, Lainez should have been starting from the offset. There was no excuse for him to be on the bench, truly. We talked about it last week in the pregame. Guignac should have started. Why did Buffalo Aguirre, who's started what feels like every game this season since he's arrived, except for like one or two, why was he starting that game? He looked awful, and he's not a good striker for a counterattack because he doesn't hold up the ball great. Like, he holds it up fine, but Guignac holds the ball up better and can kind of allow the runners in behind to happen with his hold up play. And he links up better with the guys because he's just a better player than Aguirre is, even at 40 years old, right? Like what are we doing? So I'm looking at the FOTMOB ratings. Again, FOTMOB, as we say all the time on the show, FOTMOB is not gospel, but it is a helpful tool to help with what we see with our eyes. The best player in that game, regardless of what FOTMOB says, in my opinion, was Brunetta, because poor guy was still trying to make stuff happen. He just had nowhere to go. And the guys in front of him were letting him down, specifically Aguirre and Correa, and even to some extent Chicha. But Chicha shouldn't have, like you said, even been starting the game. But he was let down by everybody else. The back line, obviously they couldn't hold their own. Raise a glass, Lou. Hold on. Raise a glass. Orey coming on the field.
Hey. My boy.
Pachuca's about to get a golazo. Nah, I'm playing. And then looking at the team stats real quick, and then I'll let you go. We let them have 69% possession. Not nice in this scenario. There actually was 2.15. They had 29 shots. We had 5 in the whole game. 5. 2 of those were on target, or 3 of those were on target. 1, 2, 3. 3 of those happened after we went down 2-0. The first shot of the game that we had was in the 4th minute by Correa. The second shot of the game that we had was in the 27th minute by Juan Pablo Vigon, which I remember that. I felt like he was going to score. And honestly, he should have scored. The next shot that we had after that was in the 82nd. And there was 2 shots back-to-back from Guignac and from Brunetta, and then Chelo Flores had one in the 86th. We only had 3 shots after we went down. So we didn't even look that good when we went down. Just in every way possible, the most disastrous result and the most disastrous performance possible from a lot of the players, but especially from Guido and his staff. Just, I still can't believe it. And it's been 5 days. I'm not over it.
You mentioned 29 shots. 15 of those were inside our box, bro. 15 inside our box. And they had 47 touches in our box. So you can't blame the back line for that. The back line held as long as they could hold. But when you're that much into your box, mistakes are going to happen. Things are going to happen. You're missing your best center back. Arguably, you're missing your best left fullback. You're depleted. You're playing with an inexperienced Rafa Guerrero. And as good as Paco Reyes has been, he's not experienced in these types of scenarios. So you're asking way too much out of these guys.
And
to be
unfortunately
honest,
got a very harsh red card as well.
Dude, don't even get me started on that. But, it's like he should have realized at halftime we got off good. We got off good. Like we basically just took another 45 from them. And instead of making defensive subs, that was his opportunity to make offensive subs and go get the game. And he didn't. He didn't read the game. He didn't understand that by putting all his cards into this low block, he was basically handcuffing himself into a situation he wasn't going to be able to reverse. Because like I said, Gignac and Flores weren't going to be able to come in and change the game when you already have so many defensive pieces. And I think the move should have been at halftime. You pull Bigon and you bring in Linus, and that way you play more balanced, more pieces, more options for Brunetta to play with. And then at some point you pull Buffalo and you bring in Gignac. And I think that would have created a more balanced team. It would have put your team into more of an attack mode and would have given Chivas something to worry about. What really frustrated me on top of everything is that Chivas goalkeeper, bro, is terrible. Terrible goalkeeper. And if we would have just tested him, we would have forced him into more mistakes and we would have scored, but we just never had the courage to try it.
He only
We
had
never
3
pushed up.
saves on the whole night.
We didn't test him, bro. And I think the one that Gignac had that was like a header or something, he struggled with it. So imagine if Gignac would have gotten a good 30 minutes, it would have changed the whole outcome of this series, bro. But we just never had the will, never had the instruction from Pizarro to go after this game. And like I said, to me, this is one where front office has to sit them down and say, hey, never again, dude. This is not, because you mentioned it, this is not the Tigres way. And fans will always forgive you if you go after the game, right? Let's say we would have battled back and forth and it just ended up being we lost 4-2, right? But we went all out. We would still be upset, but not like this. Like fans won't forgive you for being a coward. They won't forgive you for just sitting down and taking the blows. It's basically like going into a fight and never throwing a punch. You just getting hit in the face the whole time. That's what we did. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic, especially when you are the better team. You can't blame. Yeah, we had injuries. Yeah, we were fatigued, but you can't make those excuses, man. When you have the better roster.
I would have pulled Gignac for Buffalo at halftime. The order of subs was this. We only did one sub at the start. It was Chicha for Diego Lainez, which I like that. I thought that was a good decision. Although I would have done Gignac with Aguirre as well, or for Aguirre, like at the same time. Because obviously in 45 minutes, APG is probably going to do something as
To
opposed to the 10
me, to
minutes he
me,
got.
Bigon needed to get pulled, bro. Bigon to me was the one that was kind of stinking it up. That's why I feel like that needed to have been the first sub.
He was the second sub, or no, the third sub because he ended up, I think he got hurt, if I remember correctly, or got some sort of knock because that's when Guerrero came in. Because technically, Aguirre came in for, or Lauroña came in for Aguirre in the 60th, and then Guerrero came in 2 minutes later for Vigon.
And that ultimately that sub is what killed the game. When you no longer have a striker and the back line doesn't have to worry, the center backs don't have to worry about defending a center forward.
Right.
You basically opened up the floodgates. Buffalo was the last dude holding up by a thread, bro. Like you pulled them and brought in a defender,
Cooked.
you're cooked, bro. You're done. You're done.
Especially when they overloaded the midfield. They ran a 3-5-2. Like,
You're
what are you
done, bro.
like? If you don't have a
Yeah.
target man in that scenario, like we did for 30 minutes during that when Correa was the 9 or 20 minutes, like you were just asking for it. And Correa, as much as he's been good over the course of this year, he's struggled because of the fatigue and because of the amount of games. And his dribbling has not been good for about a month, and he really struggled. And to make him the target man as your point guy in attack at that point was a very diabolical decision by Guido, to be honest. Um, I got to say this too. I really think Nahuel should have done better on the second goal. I still stand by that. I know it was kind of tough, but I thought his positioning could have been better and he could have saved it. I really think so. Because it
That's
had
fair.
airtime. It had airtime. It's not like it was a bullet header. Like he ended up chasing it because he wasn't technically in the right spot. So I'm still a little bit annoyed by that. He's not the reason why we lost the game, obviously, but it's like, okay, Well, that's annoying.
Yeah, it just ends up being the volume, bro. When it's that many volume of shots, you wear out your back line, you wear out your goalkeeper. It's so hard to stay focused for that long, bro, when you're just basically receiving fire the entire time.
Yep.
And man, there's just so many scenarios to me where he could have done things differently. He could have gone with Araujo and Romulo Zuareg as a pairing. He could have gone with Araujo and Brunetta as a pairing in the pivot. To me, I think you got everything you could get out of Egon in that first Nashville game, and you should have realized, hey, man, that's all he's good for. That's all the juice you're gonna squeeze out of that orange. And I don't think he realized that, and he still plugged them in when
Yeah.
you had better options within your roster to be able to fill that second pivot spot without sacrificing anything. I mean, let's say you bring in Zwarg and play him with Araujo,
Oh yeah,
then
that would have
then
been great.
you could have played Rafa Guerrero back there, and that's still like Zwarg helps you kind of keep the battle in the middle third.
And he
But
stops plays before they happen in the midfield, which he's so good at.
yeah, just there was just another option would have been Brunetta and Araujo, where you let Araujo be the more defensive minded one, and Brunetta is kind of your orchestrator. And when you do that, then you could play Slaines, and you have two actual wingers. I feel like we were unbalanced the whole night, and it just showed we didn't have a balanced attack, and I think it was one of those nights where we needed to keep everybody in check, and we just didn't. I mean, I just hope Pizarro has the humility to be able to look at this game and say, "Hey, my bad." Even if he doesn't say it in public, at least privately to his guys, says, "Hey, it's on me. I didn't plan it well, and my in-game management was terrible. We're gonna do better," because he needs to do better. Another one of these, like against Toluca, bro, and I think his job's on the line seriously. Like if in Conca you come out with that kind of game plan when there's hardware on the line and a championship on the line, I mean you don't have any credit, bro. You're not Tuca Ferretti. Can't pull any stupid stunts.
So I was gonna wait to ask this until later, but since you just brought it up and now we're talking about it, do you think he will though? Because he's not having to defend the lead in that final. Like it's a one off game. Anything could happen. Do you think he would do that in that scenario? I feel like he wouldn't.
I just hope that he doesn't try to make it a 20-15 minute game. And what I mean by that is he tries to sit in a low block, defend the 0-0, keep a clean sheet, and then the game plan is, hey guys, as soon as the 75th minute hits, now we start attacking. I hope he doesn't have that in his head because it's not the type of game we need to be making. I think the only way you beat Toluca is if you attack their back line. That's the only way. I mean, if you
Yep.
with Toluca, if you sit in a low block, they'll cook you. They've got too many pieces, and they already showed their hand. Toluca basically told the entire league and all the fans, "We don't care about the league. We won it back to back. We're focused on this one," and that's why he rested all his guys and he didn't care. And obviously, he's not going to get any criticism because he just lifted back to back championships. So
Yeah,
he's
they've won
not worried.
3 trophies in a year.
So all he's worried about is this cup coming up. He just told us he wants it. And so when he wants it, he's going to go get it. And so we need to match that intensity. We need to be able to say, okay, we're going to attack too. And that's the only way we can do it.
We will obviously talk way more about that final as it gets closer. I really wish they would have moved it up. Now that both teams are out of the league, like gosh, if it was next weekend, be great.
Well, Ociel Herrera, I think, is back healthy and practicing. But
Yes,
my
Joaquim is
understanding,
still a little bit away.
he's banged up, not ready, and Gorreran's not fully fit yet. So that's three key pieces that we need to get up to speed, and I think the rest is going to help us.
Yeah,
Even though too much rest plays against you because now you risk going into that game going in rusty.
yeah. Well, and it's the same scenario for both teams too. Like Toluca's
Yeah.
gonna be dealing with the same thing as well. So
So I don't know if maybe in a week or two we see them maybe scrimmage or what to try to get back into pace.
here we go. AJ in the chat. Wish you were here with us in the feed, but he's in the chat. Lou as the next manager. He got my vote. Listen, where's the who's got an account on that petition site? Because we got to start a petition.
Give me Pedro Losa's job, bro.
Hey, dude, what if you were the dual manager? If you were the manager of both the varonil and the feminine at the same
There's
time,
no way, bro. You would die, bro. You're just like stressed out all
dude.
constantly.
Todo el pelo se te va en 3 días, bro. Ahí te quedas
Yeah,
pelón por
toast.
vida. Te quedas como pello, bro. Just cooked. Just absolutely cooked. Oh man. Well, um, what what lessons do you think the team? We've talked a lot about Guido, but what lessons do you think the team can take from this? The players can take from that and try to not replicate that. Obviously, 2 weeks from now, playing for that Concacaf title.
I think that the low hanging fruit on that is that your energy in these types of games needs to match or outmatch your opponents. It was like very clear to me which team wanted this and which team was not ready for the battle. And so, I think some of the younger guys, some of the newer players are still learning what it takes to win these type of games. There's just another level to it. You have to be better mentally, physically, everything to be able to win these types of games. And I think maybe in some ways, I think they were shocked at how keen Chivas was to take it. I think they were probably surprised because like initially, right off the first minute, they were already had a scoring chance that was a goal, but got overturned by VAR.
Right? Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's the first thing that they're gonna have to realize that at Toluca, they're gonna have to be ready, and it's gonna be physically a lot more demanding playing at altitude.
Yep. And they're not getting there until Thursday. They're not flying out to Toluca until the Thursday before the game.
Which that's I don't know how that's gonna go, bro. That's worrisome because I think 24 hours is your window where you don't feel it as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would have been maybe better to because the game's on Sunday or
Saturday.
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 I
Yeah.
wonder if it would have been maybe better to get there like Friday night or something.
And just
But
cold turkey it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because after a certain amount of hours, the altitude starts getting to you. But as far as tactics, man, I think our movement needs to be a lot better uh, without the ball. That was one thing I noticed that I think that fatigue played a part in it, but we were just not in the right spots. And I think the guys are gonna need to work on that. It was a big blow, really, not having Gorreran. Um,
Huge.
I think I think we kind of showed that we have a dependency on him. He just does things that nobody else can give you. Araujo doesn't have that type of motor. Bigon just tactically doesn't have the brains to be able to be at the right spots. I think
And physically it's just not there either.
yeah, yeah, and so to me, Gorriaran's going to be a really key piece for this Toluca game. Hopefully he's healthy, and then we'll see what we get. I mean, I think this team has shown that when the wingers play well, the team tends to look better too. And frankly, Lainez has kind of been disappointing these last few games. And then Ozzy Herrera, I don't know what's wrong with that boy, man, but he just can't stay healthy.
which is
And
unfortunate
so
because he's been good in this tournament.
yeah, and so that to me is another thing is the boys need to make sure, hey, it's one game and we got to be at our best physically, and if I get injured, I get injured. There's no saving yourself anymore for this one. I think that was another mistake we made is that we were saving ourselves in this Chivas game, hoping that we would just advance, and so I think guys need to realize, hey, even if I'm not 100%, I'm going to give it my all, and whatever happens to my body, right? That means if I get injured, I get injured, but I have to be playing at 100% the whole time. And if something breaks, then next guy in, right? But
Right.
there's no saving yourself. There's no game, there's no coming back from it. So you have to win, and there's just so much on the line in this tournament with the Intercontinental at play, and obviously the Club World Cup. Just mentally, they need to be dialed in.
Yeah, the stakes are too high, and also just getting redemption on a Toluca team that just beat you by the thinnest of margins in December, and also this is Guignac's last chance at a trophy with the team. Do we want to
Yeah,
put in? Do we want to put in a cowardly performance to send him out on a crappy note? I don't think so.
and I think I mean, we talked about it after that Toluca final last season. We lacked the killer instinct. There was a moment there in the match, a good 15, 20-minute stretch where we had Toluca on the ropes and we just didn't finish the fight. And I think guys need to kind of do a little self-analysis and realize like, hey, this is the time where your killer instinct has to come out, or you have to develop it to be able to finish these types of games. Because I mean, Toluca is just so well coached, bro. They're not gonna make any mistakes, and so I think we're just gonna have to be at our very very best to be able to win it. Even though I mean, I still think we're the favorites. We when we're healthy, we have the better squad, but we'll see. We'll see. I think Pizarro. I keep going back to Pizarro because he's the one that makes the game plan. Pizarro needs to be better in this type of situations because you lose another one, bro. You basically become a coach that now people are going to be saying you can't win in the big games. Like, yeah, you're getting there, you're getting to the finals, but can't win the big games, and that just mounts more pressure on you already.
Let's say hypothetically, team plays well. We actually have some ganas. We have a good game plan, and we lose. I don't know. We lose 2-1. I hope it doesn't happen, obviously, but let's say that happens. But we don't play like cowards, or we don't have a cowardly game plan. Does Guido still keep his job?
I think so. I think the project's good, but I think everything that you said has to happen. You have to plan the game to win the game, right? So that means do what you say you're going to do. You're going to be the protagonist. You're going to have the possession of the ball. So you're going to try to battle for the ball at all times, whatever that means, right? High press or battle in the middle third, whatever it is, you're trying to win the ball back at all times. And you're trying to score. You're trying to push up, generate chances. And you plan the game that way, and then you make your subs showing that you want to continue playing that way, and the boys go all out. I'm fine. That's fine. Like, Toluca's a good team. You're not losing to some punk team, right? This is a legit team that's really well coached. But that needs to happen. Let's say like hypothetically, right? You have a 1-0 lead and it's the 70th minute. Now you're like, hey, park the bus, pull all your offensive guys, six in the back, and try to hold them for 20, and then you end up losing because of it. That's on Pizarro, bro, and you got to go, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
You betrayed your essence. You betrayed your motto, whatever you established for yourself, the Tigres way, and you got to go, right? I mean, it's. I understand that there's situations in the game where you do need to close the game out, but he needs to understand it's not at the 60th minute, it's not at the 70th minute. It's, maybe 10 minutes before the game. Let's bet on that. That's fair. You could kind of ask your defenders to hold for 10. That's fine. But what he did at Guadalajara to try to hold them for 30 plus minutes, dude, that's not fair. That's not right.
Yeah, you can't do that. Not in a one-off game. I truly think that he knows well enough to not do that. Even if we go up, like, I think a lot of people don't see. I know you mentioned that you think that we're the favorites. A lot of people probably don't see that. But this is a game where I think the boys will be up for it, especially to get a vengeance on what happened 6 months ago. I don't think they're going to be willing to let that happen again as much as possible. So hopefully the game plan matches that ideology, and that the boys are able to do their best and let the chips fall where they may. So I gotta think he's gonna come out with some real intent and try to make it a good game, because like you said, if he doesn't, it's wraps. It's wraps for him, and it's unfortunate because there is potential with him should we continue with him as the coach, and there should be a lot of faith put into him in a normal circumstance. And also, there's been too much turnover at the club over the last 4 years. The last thing we need is another coach, right? Are we going to turn into every other club in our league? Like, come on. I don't want that to happen again. So we'll
I
see.
think as fans, we want it for the stability, right? I think the locker room wants it. I think there's just like you said, we need the continuity. I think it's a win-win for us to try to keep this guy, but it's up to him. It like, are you gonna be humble and say, hey, I messed up, but I'm gonna correct, or are you gonna continue making the same knuckleheaded mistakes? Because we forgive him for what happened at Toluca for not going for the kill, right? Because he's still a rookie coach. But then you did it against the Seattle Sounders, almost got eliminated. You did it against Chivas, and then now you do it again against Toluca. Now it's a pattern, right? There's a trend there, and you're telling me you're not learning anything from your mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, it's not the case, but he leaves a lot to be desired after what happened last Saturday, unfortunately. So, I'm still really upset that we're not still playing in this Liguilla that feels like it's very attainable, and to keep harping on the guy that's in the background of our screen here. Like, that's a really crappy way for Gignac to go out as far as like league appearances go. Just get 10 minutes, play well for those 10 minutes, but then you get bounced by a young Chivas team after blowing a 2-goal aggregate advantage. Like, it sucks for him, man. Like, you could tell he was frustrated. Like, as he walked off the field, didn't say anything to anybody, whether teammate or opponent. Like, he got off the field ASAP, and you could tell he was visibly frustrated with how that game ended. And I think it is a little unfair how he's been treated over the last couple weeks. Obviously, he plays a little bit in that Nashville game. He played, in that Mazatlan game where he started, right? He doesn't play at all in the second leg against Nashville, plays a little bit in the first leg against Chivas, and then you just throw him on. Like, I feel like he could give you so much more, and I know that he can give us so much more. And I don't know. I feel like Guido has done a pretty crappy job of managing his minutes and overusing Buffalo too much, and I guess maybe trying to protect Gignac for the final. I don't know. Like, is he planning to start him again? Because I wouldn't do that after what happened in December at Toluca. Like I would have Buffalo start probably at this rate, but I would have Gignac finish in case anything happens, because I think had he finished the game against Toluca in December, it would have been a little bit different. I really do believe that. And I don't want that to happen again. So is he protecting him? Who knows? I just feel like Guido has not done a great job of managing that, especially with his impending departure, presumably.
You know, Tuca Ferretti for the longest time had an advisor, kind of a counselor, in Miguel Mejia Barón, a guy he respected and trusted, and I think in a lot of ways was kind of in his ear at times, telling him, "Hey, this is my opinion." And I feel like Pizarro might need something like that. He might need somebody that has a differing opinion, that has just a different perspective. Sometimes as a coach, you want to surround yourself with people that will agree with you, that view things the same way as you, but that becomes a drawback, right? Because they're all in agreement, everything's good, they're all saying yes to you. And I think at times as a coach you need somebody that's going to say no, 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 hold up. Like you're overplaying Buffalo and underplaying Gignac. Think about the situation, right? Think about what he brings in terms of leadership in a situation like this, in an elimination game. Uh, One thing I kept saying was during the game was we need Gignac in there because the center backs for Chivas actually fear this guy. There is like an unreasonable amount of respect for Gignac. And like you could tell when he came in, the center backs woke up, dude. Like they didn't care about Buffalo Aguirre the entire night, but as soon as Gignac came in, they were like, oh. And so immediately he drew attention. And that's why we got a little bit of momentum as soon as he came in. So you can't tell me you couldn't have used him for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And that's just Guido Pizarro, I think, kind of being stubborn about what he wants and not reading the game well, not understanding the circumstance. Like, hey, dude, like this guy needs to be in. Kind of like, Tuca. I feel like in a lot of ways Pizarro has learned the good stuff from Tuca Ferretti, but he's also learned some of the bad habits, some of that stubbornness that doesn't make any sense. Like Jofre Garron not playing against River Plate in the biggest game, bro. Like, what are you doing? Right? Like Jofre Garron had been killing River, and like all of a sudden he's just bench. And I think he made this mistake in this game with Gignac, not understanding how deadly Gignac has been against Chivas and not giving him the respect. And so, yeah, I understand him too, his frustration and walking out mad, knowing that he could have given a lot more and he would have been a lot more beneficial to the team had he had more minutes.
Yeah. This could be so much better. It really could. And hopefully we do see Gignac for more than 10 minutes in the Champions Cup final in 2 weeks. I really hope he finishes. I would honestly, I kind of hope Aguirre plays the first 45 and that's it. It's kind of what I hope. And then Gignac rides the rest of the way.
I'm sure once we get closer, we'll break it down, but there's just a lot of opportunities on that right wing for Tigres to do damage, bro.
Yeah.
And
Especially without Gallardo for them.
yeah, Gallardo and Vega. I mean, that
Yeah.
frees up Chuy Garza, that frees up Lainez. So, I mean, we'll talk about it, but I think it's a really good opportunity, bro, to bring some hardware home after a really disappointing Liguilla.
Yep. We need it desperately, and hopefully the boys will come through. But as you mentioned, we will get to discussing that more the closer we get to it. We're still a couple weeks out from that game, so we'll do a full breakdown, full preview on the week of the not next week because we're still a little bit of a ways away, but the week of Memorial Day. So the week of the 25th, we'll do a full breakdown. Hopefully we'll have a better idea of what the roster situation looks like for that game, and we can have some predictive lineups and stuff like that. So Um, the boys took some days off after the Chivas game, but they did go back to training. What was it, on Tuesday or yesterday? Back to training.
I think it was, yeah, yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, back at it on the field. I imagine they're not going to go all out this week. They'll probably take a couple more days here and there. Um, but you also can't take too many days off because you got to be in some sort of a rhythm. And for a few of these guys, there's World Cup implications on the line as well, so you don't want them to not be ready for that as well. So lot could happen between now and 15-ish days from now in that game. So we'll keep you guys posted, obviously, as we know more, and when we reconvene and do our next episode, we'll have any updates should they arise. Hopefully, we'll get some more news involving the team, both the men's and the women's side, as well when we come back and record next time. Am I missing anything, Lou? Before we land the plane and get out of here?
Do we want to give an update on the women's side? I believe América Femenil and Rayadas are playing.
Oh, the final. Yeah. That they're playing
They're playing at Monterrey today. This is
yeah, the first
the
leg.
first leg. So
Just started.
0-0, 15th minute.
Yeah, it just started, and then Pachuca just won their first leg against Pumas in that other men's semifinal. I'm so frustrated. We could have won, bro.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Here's the only thing I'll say on that, Dennis, is that had we gotten past this Chivas game and somehow survived, right, like by a miracle, you would have been rewarding such a poor performance energy wise, like intensity wise, right? You basically rewarding bad effort. And I think we would have probably paid the price against Pumas.
Yeah.
Because right now, you can say whatever you want about Pumas, but the one thing that they really have going for them is their energy. They just want it, And I think their coach gets them fired up, and I think they would have just outmatched our energy.
Yep.
Somehow I feel like we were so slowly running out of juice, just depleted, and that goes back to Pizarro. I think he mismanaged some of the minutes, especially with Correa. I think we worked him to the ground.
Yeah, 100% we did. So hopefully this break will help everybody, as it should. It really should. I hope. I don't want, as I told you guys the other day, they should cancel the season. They should. Claudia, la presidenta, should come in and just unilaterally just cancel the season. Right now, just like she tried to get the kids out for school a little bit early. Why don't we just end the season early and not crown a champion? That would be great. But I guess if I had to pick somebody to win, I guess Pachuca. I guess. I don't want Chivas to win, obviously. Screw them. Or Cruz Azul.
Yeah, definitely not Cruz Azul. I don't know. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like, yeah, whatever, bro. Whatever.
How funny would it be if Uriel Antuna won a championship this season?
We have, who are the ex Tigres still in it? Cordova's out, right? Cordova's gone.
Yeah. So
We got
Tuna, the Kraken, Q.
Hey.
Who else? Oh, Tugenelo.
Ener Valencia.
Yeah.
But mi gemelo is
I know he's hurt, but technically
he's hurt. Yeah, technically he would lift the cup.
Yeah, technically. Who else? That might be it.
No, nobody with Pumas. Well, Antuna,
Besides
right? That's
Tuna,
Antuna.
yeah.
Yeah.
Besides Tuna,
In Chivas. Wait, who's Oh no, Pollo Briseño was playing for Toluca.
yeah.
Any Chivas players? No,
No,
right?
mm-mm. Nobody for Cruz Azul either besides
Though
you and
I
me.
guess thinking about it, I think Pachuca, because then you would have Ujay and Ener Valencia lifting the cup.
Yeah, yeah,
I just can't lean towards Tuna, bro.
yeah. Same.
He didn't do enough at the club to really merit my support.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve to be rewarded with a championship after leaving. Papachuca. Thank you, Trigger. Yeah, I think that's the way. Do I care that much? No, but that's about the extent that I care. Said I want them to win it and not anybody else. So, anything else?
That's it from my end. When are we back?
Good question.
We're taking a break next week.
No, I don't think we should. I think we should. I don't know. They brought up a great idea, and hopefully I can
Hey,
try to
dude, we
turn.
never did end of season awards, bro.
Okay, so this is where I was getting at. So I think next week's episode. I love that we're just discussing this on the air. I think next week's episode should be both the end of season awards episode and also the World Cup best 11 involving Tigres players historically idea that Arnoldo put out
Okay,
in the
so
chat
explain to
earlier.
me because I didn't quite understand that.
If I'm getting what el padrino del show was saying is that I think he wants us to make a best 11 of any Tigres player who has ever been a part of a World Cup, like over the
Okay,
years.
okay, okay. So you could throw like Claudio Suarez in there, Ramon Ramirez,
Yeah,
Barbadillo,
yeah.
Gignac,
Ugayala, cats like that.
Champon de Mon.
Right, Correa technically.
Yeah,
Nahuel technically was on the 2018 World
true.
Cup roster in Russia for Argentina. So yeah, I think that'd be a fun uh
That'd be cool.
thing to talk about. So
So you come up with one and I come up with one and whoever else joins can come up with
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do next week here on the show, since we have a little bit of a buffer between now and the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. So come back next week for end of season awards, little World Cup talk, um, and whatever else pops up between now and then. But as far as tonight goes, that is it. So as always, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't followed us on all of our platforms already, whether it's the lautimes platforms or Lou's Twitter or my Twitter or my Instagram or whatever, uh, look at the screen, look at the show notes, look at the episode description, look at all the stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, all the things helps us out a ton. If you want to be part of the show, let us know. Um, really want to get people involved this year. We've been trying to get on that. So if you want to get involved, let us know. And yeah, we'll be back either Tuesday or Thursday of next week, depending on schedules. I'll talk to the gang and we'll see what happens. But projected days, Tuesday or Thursday, to take on our next episode, as we just mentioned, talking about the World Cup 11 and end of season awards. Come back for that. We want y'all to be a part of that as well.
Trigger. Make sure you do one too, Trigger.
Yeah, Threeger, give us your award winners as well. If you come back next week, y'all, be sure to hang out and chat, especially if you're watching live, so that way y'all can participate and give us your takes and opinions as well. We'll try to let you guys know whenever we decide to record, so that way y'all can tune in accordingly. And hopefully, next week, whenever we do record, I don't have Wi-Fi issues going into the episode like I did tonight, because that would be rather unfortunate.
Shout out Spectrum.
Anti shout out.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah. Hashtag don't sponsor us ever. That's the real hashtag. Oh
Hey,
man.
if we ever shout out Spectrum on here, it's because we sold out, y'all.
Yeah, bro. It's because we got back to our bad habits and we're crying for help. That's what that means. That's a code term. Oh my goodness. All right, well, we'll leave it that. We'll see you guys next week. For Lou, for me, Dennis, for the rest of our crew who wish we could have on tonight, but they couldn't. This is the Lou Times Podcast. Thank you guys for always supporting us. And we'll talk to you guys next week, hopefully in a happier mood. Arriba, Lou! See you guys later.
Peace.